A fairy ring, in the most basic definition, is a ring of mushrooms that appear naturally in nature, but they can also be a ring of rocks, plants, flowers, trees, or just a ring of grass. There is a lot of science surrounding the how and why of fairy rings, but I'm not really interested in that. I'm much more interested in the lore. What makes fairy rings so interesting is that they appear to grow overnight. These rings can range in size from a few inches to several feet, and can also appear simultaneously and even overlap with each other. Most of the lore surrounding fairy rings talks about supernatural creatures either dancing in or around the ring, and having the ring serve as a portal between two realms or dimensions. Different cultures have different thoughts on what exactly these rings are used for. In German folklore, they mark the place where witches would gather and dance. Austrian folklore states that dragons created these rings, and that once a dragon created the circle and left the site, the only thing that could grow there for 7 years is toadstools. Dutch folklore states that these circles are where the devil churns his milk, whatever that means. Now, although there are different beliefs on how and why these rings were created, most lore states that you are not to enter a fairy ring. French lore suggests that fairies aren't exactly evil creatures, but they're simply mischievous. They will invite you into their circle to dance, and while it's fun at first, they begin to speed up the dance to a speed that humans can't keep up with, and the human will eventually fall unconscious. When they wake up in the morning, the fairies will be gone and they'll be covered in bruises, wondering if what happened last night was real or if it was simply their imagination. Now, English folklore has a couple of different stances. To some, entering the ring is bad luck and you will die young. English lore, like French lore, also states that you will dance with elves and the dance will begin to speed up. But instead of falling unconscious, you'll either die of exhaustion or die of madness. They also believe that entering a ring can make you invisible to the mortal realm and you'll be transported to the fairy realm. Another thing the English believe is that someone who enters the ring will never be able to differentiate between reality and fantasy, as they will be able to see both the mortal realm and the fairy realm simultaneously. So while they're seeing the mortal realm and looking at all the things that are going on around them, they're also seeing the fairy realm, which no one else can see. So, reality and fantasy. In Welsh lore, it's believed that time moves differently when inside the fairy rings, as it is a part of the fairy realm. So while someone might think that they were on the inside of the ring for only 6 minutes, it could amount to as much as 6 months outside of the ring. So basically, fairy rings are things to be looked at in awe and respected, but never to be entered, especially if you're in England. Do not mess with the fairies in England.